Hey folks, Matthew here once again, and today I'm going to be talking about CitizenCon, which is happening at the end of the week, Saturday, October 10th. It is the third CitizenCon, and I thought for a bit of a change I would do a little pre- and post-show thing, maybe with a view of doing something like this for, let's say, E3 next year, maybe? Who knows? This is all speculative. Let's see how this goes. So, as I said, this is the third CitizenCon. It's happening not too far from me in Manchester. I would have liked to have gone, but the tickets were only available for 15 minutes before everybody snatched them all away, so I kind of missed the boat on that one. But who knows, they'll probably do another one in the UK at some point in the future, or maybe somewhere in Europe, so I'll possibly go to that. Who knows. Besides, I can watch it on the live stream, which is my intention anyway, so that's no big issue. So this is the third CitizenCon. And I'm going to be talking about things that I expect to see, things that I would like to see but probably won't, and things that I really don't want to see. So, things that I expect to see. Starting with the opening, obviously, I'm expecting some sort of cinematic thing. Probably a celebration of Star Citizen as it exists now, or some sort of celebration of the community, maybe series of videos saying happy birthday Star Citizen, which I believe they've done in the past. They might do something regarding Squadron 42, possibly, but I think that if they do, they'll save that for later in the presentation. Talk about that more in a minute. What else do I expect? I expect there to be streaming problems. It's a live stream by CIG, there's going to be problems. That's almost par for the course. Oh, the demo might go wrong if there's a demo. Who knows? Knowing my luck, it'll cut out right in the middle of one of the presentations. Big reveals. Something else that I expect to see. I expect to see a bit on Squadron 42. I believe Chris has mentioned in regards to the response to the Escapist article, which I will also talk about later, that he's going to be talking about the cast list for Squadron 42. Apparently they've got a big Hollywood cast involved. Maybe we'll also see some sort of trailer thing, as I mentioned just now. But again, I'll talk about that in a minute. I expect there to be bits on the social module and Star Marine. What's next for both of them? I mean, Star Marine hasn't come out yet, but maybe some sort of timescale, which again ties into something I'm going to talk about later. There's a theme here, definitely. Social module has come out. There's lots of it in the pipeline. Oh, and Arena Commander 2.0, or Baby PU, whatever it's called now. That and Star Marine are sharing... It's either or which will come out first, so it'll be interesting to see if they talk about those two, how they talk about those two in relation to each other, whether Chris will say this is the one's coming next, this one's coming after, or if he'll leave it ambiguous. I mentioned the social module, that stuff's coming, so whether we'll see stuff on... when we can see the next drop of that, I suspect he'll mention it, but not go into much detail. And I believe, and also in response to the Escapist article, Chris mentioned Operation Pitchfork would get a mention. Or was it... no, it might have been time for the chairman. Distinctly remember him saying at some point that he's going to talk about Operation Pitchfork, which, for those of you who don't know, it's a community-driven event which basically involves a bunch of people getting together to fight the Vanduul being the big bad of this universe. They've attacked a whole bunch of human colonies and even wiped two of them out. And so, we as Operation Pitchfork, I say we, I'm not actually involved in it at this time. It might be in the future, I haven't decided yet. But we as a race have got decided to go, no more, we will not allow the Vanduul incursion any further. Whether that will be successful is unlikely. Player population is only 10% of the entire game population. But it could be a fun little bit, with everybody having LTI on their ships. Well, not everybody anymore, because you can buy ships without LTI. Lifetime insurance, for those of you who aren't acronym savvy. So that's what I expect to see. Things that I would like to see, but possibly won't. Organization tools. I'm involved in an organization that's me and a couple of friends, and I'd like to see what we can do with that in the future. But I doubt it because it's a fairly low priority at this point. They're too busy actually getting the game ready, unsurprisingly. But we'll see. Hopefully. I do wonder what sort of features they'll add in the future, whether we can, like, award medals to our friends. It would be nice to be able to do some event planning, which isn't something that exists at the moment. We have to kind of all coordinate together, which isn't easy. And there's only 3 of us. It isn't easy for 3. I can't imagine what it's like for 30 or 300. Actually, with 300 it might start getting easier, because you've got so many people that people start to just coalesce together on their own. I don't know. Next thing I would like to see. The revised flight model, which is something they've talked about doing for a while. Hopefully they'll do things like remove the speed limit. I mentioned on my Murray Cup video that at the moment the 350R is just the objectively best racer because it just has the higher top speed and can just fly out of the gate. It would be nice if the main engine was more relevant. At the moment the ships can turn on a dime. We've basically all got main engines everywhere. Even the maneuvering thrusters, even though they're technically lower thrust ratings, the ships are able to just turn immediately and point in the right direction, hence why maneuverability doesn't really matter much, because they can just all flip around and go in whatever direction they choose. I remember reading somewhere that says that it might have been a comment in one of the dev threads that said they're looking at adding the main engine being a more significant portion. But I'll be interested to see what it is, but they definitely need to get rid of that speed cap. That's the death knell for a lot of things. And the final thing that I'd like to see, but don't expect to, is a Tavaran. We still don't know what a Tavaran look like, or the Tavaran look like. We know they exist, we know that there are some citizens, we know that there's one standing for the Senate, but it would be nice to see what this second race in the UE actually looks like. Because we've seen every other race. We've seen the Vanduul, the Banu, the Xi'an. Correction, there is a race I don't think we've seen yet. It's the one on the other side of Xi'an territory. The Kithrak, I think they're called. I'll put a thing somewhere. I don't know how to pronounce it. So those are the 3 things that I would like to see, but probably won't. Now for the one I had real difficulty thinking of, things that I don't want to see. Things that I don't want to see start with talking about the whole Derek Smart escapist debacle that's been going on. I won't dwell on it here because it's not worth the time, to be perfectly honest, but people have been raising doubts about whether the game can actually be made, and shock horror, that's been going on since the game started being made. And there was an article recently in The Escapist which mirrored a lot of those comments, and Chris responded to it on the official site because it's not just somebody saying it on a blog somewhere, it's now an official journalism source saying, you know, we have these anonymous sources saying all of this, and this brings the whole game into doubt. So I don't particularly want to mention that, although they'll probably do a nudge and a wink reference to Derek Smart or somebody, I don't know. Which, fine, it's amusing, I will give them that. But don't dwell on it, basically. Next up, release dates. Yes, this is something that I was thinking about. Chris says that he's learned his lesson from before when he said, oh yes, and we'll be able to play this module by the end of the month, or by the end of the 6 months, or whenever. And, you know, the game is already overdue from the original Kickstarter campaign, and Chris says that he's learned his lesson in this regard. And I hope he has, because when it comes to release dates, just don't mention them unless they're immediate, definite, you will be able to play this thing at the end of the week, or now, as is the case in, say, Bethesda, in their E3 presentation, Fallout Shelter. They did the whole thing of, they revealed Fallout 4, and then Fallout Shelter was done, and they were like, and you can play this game on your iOS or Android device now. And that's fine, if they wanted to be able to do that. Obviously it will break, because everybody will go, oh, we can do it now, quick, download it, done. And bang, everything will crash and burn. Because that's how it works. That's life. And if you have an online game, everybody will try and do it at once, and it'll break, and all hell will break loose. Or the other flip side of that is, you know, not speculative release dates, but more sort of general feeling like, we're going to release this, and then this, in roughly this order, but I'm not going to say when. That's fine. You say you focus on this first and then do these other things later on in this order. Fine, no problem with that. Just don't give release dates unless you're really sure you can meet them. That's always been my biggest gripe with game development. At least open game development. And so finally, the last thing that I don't want to see is, well, Squadron 42 in general, to be perfectly honest. I mean, not that I don't like Squadron 42, but I'm really looking forward to playing it. Like, out of my mind, looking forward to playing it. Which is weird from somebody who's never played a Chris Roberts game before. I never played Wing Commander or Freelancer or any of those. Want to, but, you know, Steam queue, hundreds of games, you must get to them. Anyway, I digress. Squadron 42. Unless it's like, you know, immediate, like as I was just saying with release date, unless it's like immediately going to be released within the week or whatever, don't dwell on it. I suspect they'll do a trailer, as I mentioned before, but I'd rather just them keep it under wraps until it's very close to coming out, because otherwise it'll be like, oh my god, this is so awesome, and I can't play it yet, and hype will fizzle out. So while, yeah, they'll probably show a trailer, I'd rather they didn't. I'd just rather them keep it until it's proximal to when it's be released, so then they can build the hype, and then just on the edge of the hype wave, release the game, and everybody will be diving in, and it'll all be great. I hope. So anyway, that's my pre-show, in inverted commas. Those are the 3 things that I don't want to see, and also the things that I'd like to see, and things that we probably will see. As I said, I will do a post-show once the convention is gone and I've watched the stream. Let's see how accurate I am. Or let's see if maybe they'll surprise me and do something completely different. I will provide a link to the post-show somewhere, and also in the description I will put a link to the stream, be it the live stream or the recorded stream, depending on when you watch this, because if you're watching this on, you know, in a couple of months, the streams happen, so I'll just put a link to the, like, YouTube video. They usually post them to YouTube. So yeah, thanks for watching, stay tuned to this channel for the post-show, and check out my Twitter feed, because I will probably be mentioning fun or interesting things that happen in the stream. And over here is robertspaceindustriescom, which is where you can go to check out the game itself. I'll see you around the verse, and stay tuned.